They give you also, so it's charged.
It's finished what I did.
Keep it, you have to X, you see the X? Put X, and you ask me, you want to down, and that's it. Leave it like that, because we have to process it. I can hear, don't know. Okay.
We have to hope that the shield will be the fear of the corner. Are we able to begin? No. So we're learning this evening the Rebbe's Ramach's Sikha from Parsha Achrei Meis Kedoshim Toshin Monala. The learning is taking place in the Beis Knesset, Tzemach Shavir Kodesh Tzfas. And this evening is the Hey Ia Toshin Ein Chet. So we welcome everybody, and should be a good evening. And Kol Yomei Chayecha Lohovi Le'Mois Moshiach. So the Rebbe begins the Sikha, even though it's not brought here Mufurish, but the Rebbe begins the Sikha with a Medrash in Medrash Rabbah, and also occurs in Shir Shirim Rabbah and other places in the Medrash. And again to the Menorah that was in the base of Hamidosh. Zechariah Hanavi, he saw a vision of the Menorah, how it's going to be, according to the majority of Meforshim. He saw how it's going to be Liosid Lovei, the Menorah. Or Al Chaponim, he saw a vision of certain inyanim connected with the Menorah. And he saw a vision of the Menorah with a big kli on the top of the Menorah, and into this kli there was pouring Shem and Zayis, Tover, Klozman, and from that kli there ran like pipes going to the Sheva Neras of the Menorah. And that kli that was sitting like a feeding kli where the Shem and Zayis gathered, and then it went to each. It wasn't like that in the Beis Hamikdash, but this is what he saw in his vision. Well, that kli at the top of the Menorah, that's called Goyla or Gula al-Rishon. The word Gimel Vav Lamed Hey is the name for such a kli, where things connect and then they are spread out after collecting in this general kli. So the Medrash brings two opinions. Why is this kli called Gula or Goyla? Why is it called two Amoraim? One Amora says that Goyla or Gula is Melashon Goyla, meaning that's indicatory of the Golas. However, even though it's indicatory of the Golas, Hashem is with us in the Golas, and when there will be the Gula Mitzvah Vashlema, then the Eibashter will have his Gula together with all the Yidden. The word Gula, Goyla, refers to the fact that there is a Golas, but it reminds us that Hashem is with us in the Golas, and that as it were, he's waiting for the Geulah together with all of us, because he needs a geula just like we do. To a certain extent, the goyla or the gula at the top of the menorah represents Hashem and his need for geula. It's more the emphasis on how the geula is going to take Hashem out of the golas. However, another opinion holds that goyla is from the word geula. In other words, that kli represents the fact that the geula has already arrived. And the geula is already happening. And that means that the Ikar Geula is now really for the Yidden, to take them out of the Golas. And Hashem is going to be leading them and with them to take them out of the Golas. However, we see then the difference between the two opinions is that the word Gimel Vav Lamed Hey, being the name of this kli on the menorah, which all the great Meforshim say that this vision has to do with Melech HaMashiach and the whole process of the coming of the Geula, is one opinion is that it's representing Hashem's need to get out of Goyla. He needs to get out of Goyla together with everything. And the other opinion is that the Geula is already here, as it were, and the Geula is representative of how all Yidden are being taken out by the Eibishter, who he's already got out of his Golas, as it were. He's already out, and he's taking all the Yidden out of the Golas. So that's a medrash which is like at the center of this whole beginning of the Sikha. And the great Meforshim over there in the medrash, they write that what's the difference in simple terms between the two opinions. If I said the word Goyla or Gula, yeah, that's the key word, or whether I say that really it represents the Geula. What is the Hevdel? The Hevdel is in one odd, one letter, that Goyla means scholars, but if I put an aleph inside the word Goyla, then I get Geula. Well, the whole difference between the two opinions and what that represents when we get to the going out of the Golas and the Geula, what is the Ika emphasis here? It all depends on that one letter, Aleph. So it comes along the Alter Rebbe in Likkutei Torah, the Rebbe brings us down. I'm just giving you a bit of background that we sort of be able to appreciate the whole more in a flowing way. The Alter Rebbe in Likkutei Torah, in Pasha Bahaloispo, what that vision of Zechariah is the Haftorah of Pasha Bahaloispo. Over there, the Alter Rebbe brings these two opinions, and he says the difference between them is Aleph Bilvad. And then he writes, the Alter Rebbe, that the whole difference between Golas and Geula is that you put an Aleph into the Goyla, and that makes it into Geula. So he said in Cain, the whole way of getting out of the Goyla is to reveal the Aleph into the Goyla. And if you reveal Aleph into the Goyla, then you're out of Goyla and you've got you've got Geula. So the Alter Rebbe said, who's the Aleph and what is the Aleph? Alufay Shal Olam, this is the Eibishter. Yeah, the Ravine Shal Olam, if we bring him down into the Goyla, then we have Geula. And that's like it is with the central theme of the whole Sikha. That's the Nakuda. How and under what circumstances we're going to bring the Aleph into the Goyla and turn Goyla into Geula, and what does that mean? So that's basically the theme. So comes along the Rebbe and he says, Claudia Duru, Shetekno Shokol Dora Mitbatei B'Shmoy. The Alter Rebbe brings down in Shara Yichud, right near the beginning, that the name of everything in Lashon Kodesh tells us about the very essence of that thing and what it represents. What is it in the Geula? and what is the function in Hashem's purpose of that particular inyan is hidden in its name. Yeah, Havioima, Imrtzoneino lekabel musuk al mahusa shall call inyan. If we want to know about the mahusa and we want to gain an appreciation of the mahusa, beizadol or is inyan, oleino lisboinum bishmoy, then a good way to do that is to be mispointed in the name of that particular inyan. V'im kain, says the Rebbe, kidei lekabel musuk al teikno shel hagiula klemo. And the Rebbe mentions over there in the Sikha that in the Zman ha'achroin, he's been talking a lot about the Geula. The Rebbe brings over there the fact that he's indicating that the Geula is a very central theme in the whole of the Aveda of that period and further, is the inyan of the Geula Shlema. So the Rebbe makes a very interesting point that even though the actual Geula Shlema is referred to in Psukim and in Maimrei Chazal with different names, and it's hinted by different words in Lashon Kodesh and in the Chumash and in Divrei Chazal. Nonetheless, all Yidden refer to the Geula Shlema usually with the word Geula. In other words, if you want to bring out in conversation with another Yid something to do with the Geula Mitis Vashlema, then you use the word Geula. So the Rebbe said, come to Eslef, he said that the Shem Kloli for Ali Yidden, Benagir to the Geula, is the word Geula, and not other phrases, even though they might occur in Nevi'im and in Divrei Chazal and other places. The word Geula, that's like the central word. And the Rebbe brings in a footnote there, a very fascinating thing. And the Rebbe said that therefore there's a Nigun Chabad, that's what he writes, a Nigun Chabad, which says Zol Shern Zayin de Geula, you know the Nigun. Yeah. And so the Rebbe writes there in the footnote, that Nigun is a Nigun Chabad, in brackets, right? Nigun Chabad. And he said, we say, Zol Shern Zayin de Geula, the Kavanah is on all the Shlemas of the Geula Shlema, and yet we reuse the one word, Geula. Yeah? And the Rebbe said that just before I began the Sikha, they sang that nigun in this place. So the Rebbe is saying that before he began this whole wondrous Sikha, they must have sung a nigun in 770s also inside the Geula. And that produced this footnote. That's a footnote there in the Sikha. So the Rebbe uses the fact that when Yidden come together and they all sing and they say something about the Geula, then they say in Yiddish, Zol Shen Zayin de Geula. Everything connected with the Geula Shlema, everything in it is expressed in the word Geula. And therefore, the Alter Rebbe's got a very amazing point in the Likutei Torah, that the whole way to alter the situation from Geula into Geula is to put an aleph in there. And if you bring the aleph into the Geula, then you've already got, but the Mamela, you have Geula. So the Rebbe says, that's what we have to be misbainan in the name, Geula. He said, Mitoi Kach, מתוי כל הביטויים בתורה המזבטים, משהו של יציאה מהגולת הזה האחרון, הרי הכינס ששוגה בפי כל ישראל, וכן הוא בחז"ל, הוא גאולה, the word גאולה, that's what Yidden are accustomed to. ואם כן דווקא במילה זו, תמונה תויקנה,
התוכנה של החשמל לא עובדת טוב.
Temporary technical.
Get to the cool and the lights.
Doubtless the Geula is also going to be like that. A very sudden switch from the Cheshach HaGolas into the Godel of the Geula. So the Rebbe says, Im kein davke b'milazu, davke in this word geula, tmuna tegna apnimei shel geula hamitis hashleima. V'hine davke b'teva zu, onomaitzim inyan pilayim. Davke in this word geula, we find a very amazing aspect. What is that? Amila geula murkeves mishnei musagim haki koit v'im. The Rebbe says the word geula is built up from two concepts which are very, very basic, how do you call it, like swiveling. They're the main thing on which everything swivels. So he says, Michad, ma b'stevazu klolumeo, he says goilo. The majority of all the letters of the word are built up from the word goilo. Ela shekasher moisivim as ois aleph. Neitzeres amila geula. The Mamela Kumtais that the whole difference and the whole majority building of this word is from the word geula. The aleph makes an absolutely organic and tremendous swivel. From how to call it 180 or 360 degrees. Swivel that we swivel into a situation. Shaloi be'erek lezer legamri de gula miti v'shleima. Nimtza that this aleph is that says we're the key to the whole unbelievable chain. So he said the B'medrash af mafurish ki amila goylo shebenavu Zacharia. Koililis betoikna shnei pirushim. Therefore, like I brought before the Medrash, so the Rebbe says, Chad Oma Goilo Miloshin Golus, one Amira, that means Chad, means one Amira. Chad Oma Geula, referring to this Kli, was at the top of the manure that Zechariah sees in the revelation of his. So there is a Ochain, but Hasidus Mavua, that's in the Kuti Torah, Sheha Ois Aleph, and Ois Sefers, Melamezes ala Lufei Shel Oilom. The Aleph that you put into the Goilo, that's referring to Lufei Shel Oilom. She Oifeches is a Goilo Leguula. It's Tavki, that one letter, when you put it into the Goilo, then you change the whole situation. Elakotze mamish into a absolutely revolutionary difference between Goila and Geula. So that must be hinted, like I pointed out, in the two opinions of these two Amoraim, Chad Omar Goila and Chad Omar Geula. And so the Alter Rebbe stresses that everything hangs up in the introduction of the Aleph into the Goila. Achador, Oimer Dorsheni. However, the Rebbe said this whole inyan demands a pshat. Oimer Dorsheni is a lesson brought in Russia in several places that this thing says I need to understand, it needs to be darsha. Haloi Elach Shnei Mosogim Koitrim V'Soisrim K'Mei Goila Ugoula. Einach Hanami, they're tremendously important and basic themes, these two in Yonim, and they swing and swivel on a very basic level together. However, they happen to be absolutely contradictory one to the other. K'mei goila u'geula. He said, "Ketzad yitochen sho'isa mila," or that same word, "K'sho'oma mivatesis amahus," and that, according to the Alter Rebbe in Shari Yichud, tells us about the mahus. Tibonim me'isa moisias shomsogim hafuchim. How can it be built together from two things which are absolutely contradictory, one to the other. The Rebbe is not going to build an amazing case to make this make sense to us, and that is that we see from that, says the Rebbe, that the Geula is not going to involve the cancelling out of the Golas. Everything that we've lived and achieved and has been in Golas it's going to be taken with us. On the contrary, it's all going to go with us in the Gula. Come on, not bad things and terrible things, but all the life of the Gulas and everything you'd have achieved in the years of the Gulas. Well, that's going to go along. No, it's going to go along by being illuminated by the Aleph, Aruf Oilon. In other words, that if you reveal the hidden Elokus in everything, it's only a question of revealing it. The introduction of that Aleph is just a hidden of revealing, because really it's there. The Eibishter is present in everything. Of a method to reveal that and to show. Well, that makes everything into a dira lois barabataktoinim, and that, as it were, releases and frees everything from its Golas state into its Gula state. If you realize that this is all just Hashem, and it's all part of Him, and it all had to be in order that we should come to a certain inyan called the Geula, then we see that it's all really part of a tremendously important development in the whole Bria, and there had to be the Golas, and all we're going to do is free the Golas of the Helenba Hester that there is, and it's all going to be revealed how it's all Taklis, Hagiula. It's all just leading and part, beloved, of Hashem's plan. Now, what is His plan? Diruli is Barabata, that we're going to see how everything is only just a dira to the Eibishter. Kipshulin, that's what the Alter Rebbe writes in Tani, but that's the taklis of the whole Yemaisu Mashiach, with Chias Amazing, is to reveal how everything is Be'emas Lamite, a diruli is Barabata. That's what he's going to tell us. Ella, that's what he goes ahead now. Ella shadavki b'chak tmuna hatshuva. Davki, in that question that we ask, in that is hidden the tshuva. Geula ein pirusha haznocha shel hachayim. The purity of the word Gula doesn't mean that we're going to leave behind everything we've been doing in the Gulas. We're going to throw it all out into the rubbish tin, and we're going to start a whole new world called Geula. What that would involve was Nocher shel HaPiulos v'shekol ha'elon k'fi shehem hoyu b'teikro b'tkufat HaGola. That means that we would throw everything out, all the activities that didn't have done during the time of the Tkuf of the Gola is going to be put aside. So the Rebbe said, Laheifa, Geula, Keshmal Kain Hu. What is Geula? Hu Poyelas, Shamatzia, Shahoyas Akoida, Mishubedes Begolas, Mishtachreres. Everything that was Mishubad by the Golas just becomes free. In other words, that we're not making a new world, we're leaving the world the way it was. And it really is meant to be that way, and we're taking away the heaven best, and we're just revealing how it's all mamishim. Of Amela, the whole world becomes freed from a state of, as it were, imprisonment.
Is it more kasher? So hard to... Is it not kasher להכניס את האלף? Kasher זה קשה להכניס את האלף. It's a hard thing to...
What's this?
Speak up, loud.
זה לא קשה להכניס את האלף, זה לא דבר קשה. קשה לעשות, להכניס את האלף.
Are you talking in Hebrew or in
It's hard thing, no?
Hebrew.
Davening?
Ivrit, he's talking Ivrit.
Hebrew. He's speaking in Hebrew. Speaking in Hebrew.
So you're speaking in Hebrew?
Also English.
You're speaking in English.
English. It's not a hard thing to put the aleph. A hard thing.
Is it hard? Is it hard to put the aleph of you into the Gola?
Nobody's writing you a picnic. There's picnics maybe for today when people have nothing what to do, so they went on a picnic. Well, but this is not a picnic. What the Rebbe is saying is that Golas is the Eibishter's world. The Eibishter is Taklis HaToyim. So the Eibishter made a perfect world. Why is it not perfect to us? Because there's a Helen Behester called the goddess. But the goddess is only a Helen. It's not a real state or value in its own. It's only a Helen. So what we do within the goddess is all adding to this a leader to the revelation of the Allah. So Chas v'Sholom, we're not going to take that away. All we're going to do is completely reveal the Allah, and then we'll see the absolute perfect world of the Eibishter, and then everything will be freed from what it was. The world has a concept called goddess mentality, for example. And the Rebbe speaks about that quite a lot in the great Sikha. That everybody, sort of, most of these people today that made their chag, they said at the beginning that they're going to take away the goddess mentality. But unfortunately, they've dug back into the goddess mentality deeper than anybody else, unfortunately. The whole inyan of the Geula is to get rid of this being meshubad to all sorts of things which the goddess appears to tell us. That if we really work towards bringing Alu V'Shol Olam into that Geula, then we see another world altogether, and we see a freed world from the goddess mentality. You follow? That's the whole idea. So he said, the Kugosha Geula mitas yoter, v'shleima yoter. So the Rebbe said, Kuntais, that there's like stages in the Geula. And the more you move towards the Geula mitas v'shleima, ad the Geula mitas v'shleima mamish, hare yoysa v'yoysa dvarim mishtacharim ad shakol mishtacharem. So the Rebbe stresses in the Sikha a cloud which he made on many occasions, and that is that the closer we get to the Geula, the more it will become apparent that we're moving towards the Geula, and the more people will talk about the Geula in their learning, and Hashem will be, as it were, mizdamen for people in their learning and in what they see and experiences which are leading and bringing closer the Geula. So the whole thing is in this tkufa of approaching the Geula. So the Rebbe says, which means that every step you take towards the Geula, you free a certain prat, a certain detail in the world, and you reveal how it's really just a function for a revelation of Alu V'Shol Olam. And by doing that, you are freeing the world and bringing it to a perfect dira b'taktoinim, and that's the ultimate shleimus of the Geula shleimus. So he said, "Klum lo yinoisa avud b'golas." So that nothing remains lost, or will remain lost in the Golas. Afilu hanidochim v'hoivdim yigalu. This is the famous passage in Yeshaya Hanavi, where he says, "Uvo ha'oivdim be'eretz Ashur, v'anidochim be'eretz Mitzrayim, v'yishtachvu lo Hashem b'har ha'kodesh b'Yerushalayim," the famous passage. So we see that there's somebody that he's called a oived with the aleph, yeah? And a oived with the aleph means a lost person. So that means that for all purposes, if you look at him, he seems to be a lost case. Nonetheless, the Geula Shleima will not consider him a lost case. He will be freed. He thinks he's a lost case. But when there will be the full revelation of the Aleph in the world, then he will also come back. And he will be Mishtacha there, well, that's Bittul B'Matzias to Elokus. But maybe the Rebbe says that even those who are described by the Novi as Oidim and Nedachim, they're going to have a full freedom from the goddess of the Helen Behester. So he said, Hein becomes for Hein Be'echos. That includes means that everybody will experience this bittul gomer to Elokus, from the great people right down to the small people. There may be degrees in how profound that experience is, but it's going to be common to everybody. So that was the Rebbe Kola Segim Va'Piyuliois, yes, or Kol B'nei Ha'odam Yishtacharu all the good things and the achievement which people have made during the Golas are all going to be freed of any the hester that they still may be covered by. Only then is batla helenva hester hamachasa al metziusa amitias vapnimes shalamatias kula. So the Rebbe said that through that effort they had to become bottled and to become shy to the Aluvish Olam, then gradually the Helenva is going to become beaten, it's going to retreat, and Mamela it'll become revealed what is the Emerson Matthias of the whole world. Yeah, and that Emerson Matthias is only Hulavade Huva Ainzu Zolasa, the Infantil Batakta in him. So he says, Oisha Helem Hamishabed Oisol, the dark Ateva, Vagashmia Soilam. So he said, what is the function of this Helenvaesta? The Helenvaesta is that the world looks to be functioning according to nature. Dark Ateva, Sokosof, the word Teva, the Rebbe points out that the word Teva is from the word Tubu B'yam Suf. The word Teva is from Lashon Litvoa, to be drowned in something. So when you think that the whole world just runs according to nature, you're drowned in the concept of Helenvaesta. You're like underwater, you don't see the truth. Yeah, you're covered by something. But the Gula is going to take away that cover, and we won't see Teva anymore, and we won't see ordinary Gashmias, but we'll just see Elikus. And that's what we mentioned, anybody was, that's what we mentioned at Mobalayla, Vasiyah, Mashiach Salam, that's what we mentioned last night towards the end of the shiur. We have an Ivrit that the Rebbe Rashab said that one of the Ika in Yonim of the Yosid Lova is that we'll see how the whole world is just Elikus. We'll see that everything is Him, and He is everything. That's what will be clear to everybody, that the whole world is Elikus. Why do we think the world is not Elikus now? Because there's a Hester, and we think that everything runs by Teva. So the Rebbe said the Geula is going to take that away. Aleph means that you'll see how everything is really Him. And that when that occurs, then Moshiach is already here. That is the sign. Adietzim Hagira. ובעצם זהו תכן פסק דינוי של הרמב"ם בהלכות מלאכים, well, that's what the Rambam says at one on. That Shmuel in the Gemara, the Omer of Hashem Shmuel, he says, Ein Bein, Yevmeiso Mashiach, Va'elam Hazeh, Ela Shibud Malchias Bilvat. Shmuel, he looks to play down the end of the Geula, and he says the whole difference between this world and the world of the Geula is only the enslavement to the Goyim. And when the Mashiach will come, the enslavement to the Goyim will go down, and then he adds that everybody will recognize Hashem, and there'll be a few other things. But he sort of builds the whole case with the Indian of Shibud Gori. So people say that's a rather Balabatish way of looking at the Geula. So the Rebbe says that if you really think carefully what he's saying, Shmuel is only revealing this point that the difference between Gula and Golas is not a huge difference. It's a difference between realizing what is the Emerson Matthias of the world compared to looking at the world by way of Hester and Vehel. So therefore he said, when Moshiach comes, says the Rambam in the name of Shmuel, the world is going to keep running like a world. It's not going to be something completely different. And Omru Chachomim, Ein Bein Ha'el Mazeli, and Moisa Mashiach, Ela Shibud Malchias Bilvat. And those Chachomim are Shmuel and his followers. Ela Sheyaksu Kulum L'das HaEmes, Ein Nachanami, everybody will go back to proper understanding and believe. Everybody will believe in Hashem. V'Moshiach Yitakin Esoilum Kulu Lavet as Hashem B'Yachad. Mashiach will fix the whole world up, that everybody will it's not going to really change the world. The world is just going to be a much better place. So the Rebbe said that's basically what we're saying. It's written later on that Gaz, Zev, and Kevers, that all sorts of miraculous things are going to happen. So the Rebbe said that's a further stage. It's one the Rebbe learns there are like 2 stages in the Geula, and later when there'll be Tchias HaMeisim, then there'll be absolute organic alterations in the function of the world. But at the beginning, and that's the main thing, it's just going to be a change that the Rambam described. The world's going to be the same world. It's just going to be incomparably more awake to what is really the real Metzia. So he says, "V'kol zeis nifal alidei shemegalim b'kol ha'inyonim hashekuim b'goyla eso Yisrael." So the Rebbe said, if you take the goyla and you say, well, it's Fafanim, we're in the Golas, what can we do? Well, doesn't it good? But if you look at the goyla as a challenge, and you see there's a Helen V'Hester, but if you, as it were, declare war with the Helen V'Hester, and you say that your intent is to bring Aleph into everything you do, and everything, even though you might still be in Golas, but you look for everything that you do, you look to reveal the Aleph of Aluf Yisraelim. So you're a Mishloches. You're working for the Gula. You're working every moment to bring the Gula Shleima. So he says, even though some things look to be shkuim, they look to be drowned in the Gula. But you make it your effort to bring it up the Ois Aleph. Es Aluf Yisraelim, the Eibishter. Zui HaElakus Mr. Teres B'kol Inyan Olam. That's really what the Olam was meant to be, L'chatchila. Before the Chetei Tzadas and all of the negative things that happened. That's what the world was. It was a world, but it just revealed Elakus. Well, that's what you're supposed to be doing. So he says, Kasher Meisilim Es Olam. You know what I say about this, eh? So he says, Kasher Meisilim Es HaHelam Hazeh, ומגלם כיצד האמס הפנימיות והתכלס האמיתי של כל הבריאה אין אלא לכבודו של הקדוש ברוך הוא. Well, that's written at the end of Pirkei Avos. That שלא יברא, כל מה שברא הקדוש ברוך הוא, וילומד לא יברא אלא לכבודו. That's the last Mishnah in Pirkei Avos. That sums up the whole Midas HaChassidus. The whole Midas HaChassidus of Pirkei Avos is to reveal how everything is Koidai. The whole world is really Koidai is Bara. He said, but there Mamela, HaGoyla, Volfekas Lagula. You're not living in the world of Goyla anymore. You're living in the world of Gula. You're revealing how the whole thing was only Shibud. Malkias, that you were making a whole Ika out of the wrong thing. But if you make the Ika out of the right thing, then you're just ultimately arriving at what the God is. You're ultimately arriving at what the Gula is really all about. So he says, Kamat Kufa Shnia Shebegula, Naitzeres Yemigoila and Gula. So you might want to say, good, well, all that is a good biyah if I go only with the first Kufa of the Gula. But the first Kufa is, like we said, that everything is going to no longer be under Helen V'Hester. We're going to realize that everything is Hashem, and everybody will come back to the Emes religion, etc., etc. That the whole world should be a world of Tchias HaMeisim, and there should be the second Kufa. He said, how is that dependent in just putting an Aleph into the Goyla? That only brings me maximum to the first state. Over to the second state, which is also called Geula, it seems to be much more than just putting an Aleph into the Goyla. It seems to be incomparably more than that. So how can we say that the word Aluf Yisraelim into the Goyla is also referring to the ultimate shleimus of the second period? So the Rebbe says, V'yesh lahoisir, haloes v'shikra hamatiyas hagalusiyas, elevating and freeing the Matthias from God, al-idea hakdoras aluvi shalaylam, through bringing and penetrating into that situation aluvi shalaylam, einena rakpo uleh musiyemas betei kol ha-mailas eshetovi ha-geula. It's not just like a prat or a very important thing. Elahi kol teikna shela geula. That is the whole inner message of the Gula, is to show how the world is only his, and the whole world is only a dear lawyer's bottom taktoidim. That is the ultimate message of every aspect of the Gula, no matter what. Yeah, he said, V'lochein hatoya goyla, and Geula, chal gamal atkuva shniya shetiyeh b'geula. By introducing the Aleph, you're going to show how the whole world is only him. In that Gufa, there are two stages. You'll show how it's all the case, and then you'll show what that means in the highest possible way, that what looks to you to be a world was really just a complete and utter mistake, and ultimately it's going to be go, Zemiv, Kevas, in Kevas, and all the things are going to happen, and it's amazing. Even the greatest Shinoi, Miakotze, Lakotze, even the Meizim are going to become Chayim. That's all dependent in this one Indian of Allah, B'tei Chagoy Lo. So that was the Rebbe, Hagula, Allah, B'tei Chagoy L'chal Gamal HaTkuva Shniya Shetiyeh B'Gula, Asher B'Tkuva Zu, K'meduba Kama Pamim, Ari Gam L'das HaRambam, Yisrach HaShuin Yonim Ka'elu She'yaviu L'shinui Min Hoge Shalom, not Ayun Kamin Hoge Noya. No, they will bring to a huge change. Nonetheless, they're still also dependent in the whole Indian, and ultimately speaking, racial called Chiasamesim. Nonetheless, all of that is also dependent only in the same Indian of bringing Aleph into the Goyla. If you bring Aleph, and you realize, and you recognize, and you reveal what is the real Metzias of the world, you've come to all the Inyan, everything. Kalima, Lamrisha B'Tkufa Zu, Lo Yitafsu, Kol Inyoni Agodas Mokim. In the second Kufa, nobody's even going to think of anymore about the Goddess. Mikol Mokim, Af Tkufa Zu, Kruya B'Shem Goyla Geula. Yeah, it's called Goyla and Geula. Yeah, the Goyla is just going to be changed by this Aleph. So the Rebbe said, Madua, that's something incomparably beyond just changing and making us realize what the world is about. So the Rebbe is going to now go into a whole Indian in Pirkei Avos, which they were learning over there on that Shabbos Perek Gimel, and also we learn this Shabbos Perek Gimel in Pirkei Avos. So in order to only Shnaim,
Perek Beis. Perek Beis.
Perek Beis, yeah, that's right. When we didn't learn on Shmini, no. They didn't learn on Shmini? No, because in Chutz learned, that's right. In Chutz they didn't learn, so we didn't learn either, yeah. So it's only Perek Beis. Over there, they were learning already Perek Gimel, because they're like a week in front of us, but behind us. In the middle, they're learning already Perek Shlishi. So Perek Shlishi begins with the famous statement of Akavya ben Mahalalel, that he says you must look at three Yistakel B'Shlisha Devarim V'Iyata Bo Lidei Avera, and you won't come to any Avera. And then he says, what are the three things? And then he starts reckoning. Dam Yain Boso Anatohila Lifnei Miata Osid Litain Din B'Cheshvan. So the Rebbe makes a very obvious deal that if he wanted to tell me that you should look at where you come from and where you're going, and you have to give a din v'cheshbon in front of the Eibishter, then he could have just said that. He could have said, Yistaku me'ayna tapa. Where are you going? Why do you have to say, look first of all, three things, yeah, and then he won't come to Aveda, and then mention what are the three things. Just say Melachatchila, three things that you should look at carefully. Why do you need to say, first of all, look at three things, and then not say what they are, and say that will help you to avoid Aveda, and then tell you what the three things are. Ella says that Rebbe, there's some great authorities that they learn there's like two things. That when a Kavya ben Mahalil said, he was talking about, that was like a statement and a value in its own right. That you have to look at three things. And if you look at three things, not two, and not one, but you look at three things, then you will never come to day Aveda, that has in itself the power to completely free you of any possibility of falling into an Aveda. And then he mentions three other inyonim, which if you look at them, then they will help you in your Aveda B'derech Klal also to be freed from Aveda. But it's like two statements. It's not just one general statement and then how do you call it, going into detail of what he said in the general statement. Well, it's two integral statements of its own. Adobe Yuvan behektem at Boris Taklis Brias Oilom, Bo'er Mavua Besefa Tanya, Perik Lamed Vov, Lamed Zayin. So, I see. Wow, that's interesting. I see. Well, that's very interesting. Well, they've left, they've moved it down a little bit, because according to the way the Rebbe built the Sikha, right to here, where we are here, that's where he brought in the ride from Pirkei Avos. But for some reason, they've shifted it a bit further down. So we have to have a bit of patience, and then we'll get to that. So he says, that the Saba HaKadosh Baruch Hu liyais lo yidira b'taktoinim. The Alter Rebbe brings in Perek Lamed Vov and Lamed Zayin in Tanya. He brings B'Shem HaMedrash, which is called by the Medrash a taiva. He had literally a longing to make this world a dira b'taktoinim. Kalima, Yeridus HaNeshama, O Brias HaElam Hazeh, Yeshu Taktim, Shein Taktim Lamati Himenu, He B'Tei Lamales Es Tavose V'Cheftei Shalakoti Baruch. So he said, why did you come down into... So the old, well-known, the old deal, that if the Eibishter wants a dira b'taktoinim, then let him make it. It's not a problem for him to make. He can make a key takton, and he can make himself a dira there. Elamai, he wants that you should make him the dira. He wants that a group of people called Yidden, that they should make the dira. That's why he sends your neshama down into this world, that you should make him a dira b'taktoinim. It means that your leader into this world is only to be like a boring, how do you call it, a screw, that Hashem literally screws you in order to carry out what he wants. And he wants, and we don't really know why, but that's what he wants. He wants a dira b'taktoinim. That's why you come down into the world. So he said, how am I going to do that? So he said, Rezois, adidei avidose shal yodi, amavare umezachek es gufei. He said, first of all, how do you make the world into a dira b'taktoinim? First of all, you have to start with yourself. You have to make yourself a worthy little dira. You have to work at your own body and you have to purify yourself. And that means by purifying your nefesh achiyuniyah, the Rebbe calls it a flattering name, not nefesh abamis, but nefesh achiyuniyah, your life force, as it were. V'eshkashmiyas v'chumiyas ha'ilom, ad shehem yiyu dira l'kadosh baruch hu. You have to make your own personal life into a dira l'kadosh baruch hu. However, he said, Laman Matarazu, Afa mitzvahs, and that's why Hashem gave us mitzvahs, that through the mitzvahs we are able to achieve this aim of turning the world into our dear ways, and therefore the majority of the mitzvahs that the Eibishter gave us are tafki b'dvarim gashmiyim. They're tafki in the physical world. Kedei shalidei asiyosom yizbara v'yizdam achayvetz hagashmi. That when we do a mitzvah with the Dova Gashmi, well, that brings a koyach into the Dova Gashmi, that it's able to purify and become, as it were, a medium for Gilei Elokus. So he says, Koyach gam gufei shel Yehudiya mekayim as a mitzvah. Not only the Dova Gashmi that you do the mitzvah in, but your own body is also purified. As the one knows the statement of the Gemara in the Sefer Brahim, what the Gemara says that Lo nitnu es abriya et mitzvahs elala tzarek kohen es abriya. The mitzvahs were given in order to purify all the created beings. What that means, people. When you do a mitzvah, you purify the Dova Gashmi, but you also purify yourself. So that's part, and very important, that's part of the whole story. He said, Mitoy kak movan, ki ha-yerida Elohim atahem. Well, that means, from that we can understand, that you're coming down into this world. Kamay gama isaskus ima olam, einana inyan study, b'avedus ha-Yehudi. Well, that means you're coming into the world, and you're being busy with the world. In other words, you didn't come into the world to run away from the world. You came into the world to affect the world and to be busy with it and to make it into a worthy place. So therefore, that is not just some sort of side inyan. So the other Rebbe, he ataklis, amavia shleimas, hein kabeyochu shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu ba'atzmai, sheka'oman nitzaveh HaKadosh Baruch Hu. When you make the world into a medium for Gilei Elokus, then you'll be Mekayim, the Eibishter's taiva. At the same time, what that taiva was that he should have a dira b'taktanim, and at the same time, you are becoming part of that dira by you having made it literally out of your efforts and your work through mitzvah. You've made that dira. So therefore, you become, as it were, part of that whole picture. So there he said, "Li'ezlei dirbetan, v'hein shelo odom ha'oive, sha'ariv zeh kol ha'odom." That's what's written in Perek Lamed Zayin, Netanya. V'tachlis briyosai li'ez loi dirbetaktoinim. The whole purpose of a person's creation is only to make for Hashem a dirbetaktoinim, which means that the whole perfection of the odom, you're devoting himself to a dira b'taktoinim. But by devoting himself, then he finds also his emether. What is his emether? Taklis. So the Rebbe says, le'ezreis, yet is haber ha'pliya. So the Rebbe said, now to become clear of the wondrous question, that how come Hashem sends your neshama down into a body? So he said, the way it was in the Olam Ha'elyon, in Olam Ha'atzilus, it's written, Neshama she'nosata bi toherei. That's how it was in Olam Ha'atzilus. And so Hashem takes a Neshama from Olam Ha'atzilus, sends it down to this crazy, Hadikot Lunavak for Olam Ha'aseh, So the Rebbe said, that's not usually what we attribute to Hashem. Hashem is only Teib. And his whole inyan is only ultimately to bring chesed and chiyuviyas into the world. So how come he takes a neshama from Atzilus and sends it all the way down into this world? That seems to be the opposite of what Hashem wants. The opposite is the case. Well, that is the greatest chesed Hashem could do. By sending you down into this world, you make perfect his taiva, And you also, by that, you become part of that whole process, and you find your perfection, and you find a perfection that couldn't exist in Atzilus, only becoming into this world. You, through doing a dira for him, you also become to your ultimate perfection, and you become, as it were, a shutaf in that dira, and you become part of that dira. So the Rebbe said, therefore, that will answer the question, how come Hashem did such a frightening thing, that he sent the neshama from Olam Atzilus all the way down into this world. And the Rebbe said that there's a danger to it, because he also gave you Bechira. By sending you into this world, you have what's called Bechira. So you could have done the opposite, Chas v'Shalom. You could have done the opposite. So that's a sakana, that's a risk. And yet, nonetheless, the Eibishter takes that risk, because he wants to bring you now we'll understand why he sends your neshama down into Amokim Sheish Beis Heibratah. Ad Kedi Kach Neshama Zakuka Shon L'Shmira Miuchedet. It's well known that you have to be very carefully guarded in this world, that you don't fall into the wrong inyanim. And the fact that you don't is really part of Hashem's looking after you. It's not all your work. But Hashem, and that's what we say every morning in the bracha. We say to Hashem, "Ve'ator misham ra b'kirbi." You look after my neshama. Keitzad yitochen shakadosh baruch shu taklis atoiv u'miteva atoiv laheitiv yigoim l'neshama yerida atzuma. He would cause the yerida in the neshama mi'igra rama l'bira amita, from a great high tower into a deep pit. Yeah, well, that's the lesson of the Gemara in the sector Chagiga, near the beginning. The Gemara describes the coming down of the neshama as like something coming from a huge tower down into the deepest possible pit. Mibira Rama, L'bira Amikta. Avamela said, he said, how come Hashem does that? So he says, Ulam, L'era Dvorim Amurim Adovam Oven, Davke Kasher Neshoma Yoredet Slamata, he mevatzaz as a taklis, Lasa is loyis, but a dear of a taktoinim, and that means she is filling Hashem's will, his taiva, Kabyogo, Shalema, Ima Via Sagiloi Shalatzmuta, but a taktoinim, but taklazu. Yeah, loy mitgeles kasher neshamas nesheres l'mayla. If the neshama would have remained up in Olam Atzilus, that would never have been achieved. So that would have been good for the neshama mitzvah. She would have been very comfortable. But this whole amazing aim would never have been achieved. Avamela said the Rebbe, from that we see that darkness through the neshama, coming down into this world, she has her aliyah, and Kaviyocha Hashem has his aliyah. Hashem Kaviyocha reaches his taiva of Tirah is part of the Taktohinam. So the Rebbe said, "V'davke alidei neshama misailis, alidei zeh neshama misailis." Akuntos the davke through this, the neshama has an aliyah. Through that she comes to a thing that she could never have come to, of being part and parcel of Dira Loy's Barabataktain. So he said, he magila daga naili shesam kapisha oesam kaino, or mishgala toikva hoa meeting. So the Rebbe said that apart from, before we get to Dira Bataktain, he said, if you look at the difference between the neshama, the way she was Lamaila, and the neshama she is, how she is here lamata in this world. So the Rebbe said there's a difference in the whole, as it were, way of doing things of the neshama. When she was lamata in Olam Atzilus, she just understood Elokus and served Hashem without any, need to overcome any opponent or any difficulties. But when she comes down into this world, she has to have what's called a toikav, to be mizgava on the officer. So that calls out in her a toikav that she didn't have earlier. And that's what's called in the Lashon of Chassidus, Mesilas Nefesh. And that's what the Rebbe says, that particularly in the Goyla, Yidden have gone through in, so much in a way that it's revealed in them this unbelievable curve of Mesilas Nefesh and the ability to overcome the most impossible opponents. And that doesn't exist in the Neshama before it came down. So he said, that's number one. And that's, as you might say, for good measure. That's a good reward that the Neshama has, beloved. And then he said, Yeseda mizu, or even greater than that, is hu niyesh, yehi niyesh shayeres legiloy atzmos yezbarek. The Neshama becomes shayek to the Gilead of the very Atzmus of the Eibishter, Shekaomo Nifal Rak Halideh Hadira Betaktoinim. Through being Poil Hadira Betaktoinim, she is Poil Gilead Atzmus Yizbarek, which means that she comes a part of that, and she links up with it, because when not her, it wouldn't have been there. She joins into the dwelling of Hashem's Dira. So the Abish that's got a Dira together with somebody else coming up. He living in the Dira, but Yidden are living in it with him. The Yidden are together with him in the Dira. That's what it comes out. Mela says the Rebbe, Im Kain Yesh Kan Chesed Ve'ilu Inifla Gam the Neshama. The Neshama itself has a tremendous ilu from this whole thing. V'al kacha, אומרת המשנה, יופי שואגס בתשובה מעשים טובים, באילם הזה דירה בתחתונים, שזה התיינו של הבוירי, מכל חיי האילם הבא, תיינג הנברא. When you were in Elam Haba, you had tainig, but that was your tainig. Tainig of the Nivra. How much can the Nivra really appreciate? Oh, but when you come down into the world, you are causing a tainig to the Eivishter. Nisave is the Lashon tainig. When you make the Dira over his bottom, you're revealing his tainig. And you become part of that. You're experiencing the boiler's tainig. When you were in Gan Eden, you were experiencing a Nivra, and you got a creative being's tainig. Down here, you're experiencing the tainig of the Eivishter himself. Shalom Aleichem. That's quite an amazing idea. You are actually part and parcel of the Avis this time. So what's the obvious remark to be made? Ni, get moving. Let's get cracking. What do you say, Edwin?
I say like you as an Australian Israeli, you like a barbecue. A barbecue.
A barbecue. It's quite a piece of barbecue. Oh man, sometimes that you have switched unbelievably by coming down into the world. You've switched from feeling what you feel to feel what the Eibishter Kaviyol feels. And so the Rebbe said, that's the difference between Golas and Geula. Just in the meantime, unfortunately, there were things called Chatorim. And they mixed in, and they made a Elavaster on the whole Geshem. And that's called Golas. But if you reveal what is the real story, you reveal the Eluv Yisrael, the Eivishter's Tainug in this whole mess called Elam, then you're back into the situation, and that's Geula. That's the whole thing. Those are the whole Geula. Therefore, Kavya ben Mahalel, he says, he's talking about Shleisha Devarim, as though you worry about yourself. And you say, well, how am I going to become perfect? I'll have a kesher with the Eivishter by doing Limud HaTorah and good things. I'll have a shaykhs with the Eivishter. Oh, but who will have a shaykhs? You will have a shaykhs with the Eivishter. You will have time of a nivra. Chavi ben Mahal says it's not enough. Shnaim is not nice. You have to look at the Dover Shlishi, Bestleisha Devarim. And he said, what is the Dover Shlishi? You worry about what the Eivishter wants. The Eivishter will a deal of the Taktoidim, and by you joining into the Dover Hashlishi, and then you move into his Tainuk, and then you have Tainuk Shalaboile in a human life in this world, and that is the Gula. That's what the Eivishter wants. We should all be together with him. Yeah, but dear Eloise Barabah. Taktoinim, that is the ultimate in the whole Gula. The whole Gula is only the revelation of that. And that is the revelation of the Aleph. That's what the Alter Rebbe said way back in Pasuk Balois, generations ago. The Alter Rebbe said that's the Hebdel. Put the Aleph inside the Gula, and there you are. Of Amela, Hashem should help us that came to you alone. That's the ultimate shleimus. That the whole union is to reveal what is the Yofer Shoachas B'tshuva Ma'asim. Not just that you're doing a wonderful thing and you'll get a big Eden from your Tshuva Ma'asim. But by Tshuva Ma'asim, you are joining up with the Eivishter's time. That's pretty high going. That's what they call in the old language. This is a pretty high, it's a real dream, you understand? It's a real dream. That's what the Rebbe said. Wake up, Yidden, from the dream of God. And there's a real dream, and that's a real dream. And the goddess is a nightmare, it's a bad dream. I came to Yolanda, and there's a lot more that we didn't manage to cover, but hopefully we got to the main central point, the main Ike Ha'inim we covered. So there we are. Just by the way, that was already next Shabbos by them. The next Shabbos is Yud Gimel Iyah. And Yud Gimel Iyah is the Yotzeit of the Rebbe's brother. So in the Sikha, the Rebbe mentions about his brother. The Rebbe's got a whole Sikha about Rebbe Yisrael Ari Alein. And I knew people who knew the Rebbe's brother, because for quite a time he lived in Tel Aviv. You know that he had a deer in Tel Aviv. And Reb Nochem Goldschmidt was very friendly with him. And he told me stories how we used to go and sit, told that I was brother.
Keep it on.
Okay.
Rain? We keep it on during the rain?
Something all right?
I know it's good, but we keep it on?
I'm sorry? We're going on for a little while, yeah.
You'll
We made yesterday a Hanukkah Sabayis.
You made a Hanukkah Sabayis? Oh, something like that. I didn't know. But it was hard for me. I have a very hard day on Wednesday.
I figured Wednesday you're teaching, Tuesday, Wednesday.
By the time I get back, I'm sort of...
No. Dafka wanted to make it this week, but it was hard to figure out with the shirim Tuesday nights, Wednesday nights, Thursday nights, when to do it, when to stop it in, but Baruch Hashem.
Very good.
You can still give him the brachas.
You made a Hanukkah Sabayis in...
Givat Shoshana.
Very nice.
Yeah.
As a Shoshana, Rosh of Yidden, Givat Shoshana. Yeah, that's... Dear Eloise Barabbas Tainim, it didn't part of the Tira, Shoshana. And the Rebbe Rashab writes in Hemshech Summer's Law, in Parshat Vayigash, he writes over there that when you make a Hanukkah Sabayis, you should make a Suda, and he said you should invite all your good friends and everything. He said, and they come, and he said they give brachas, and their brachas give koya to that house. that it should become a mokim brocha, it becomes kavua, bezer oilu, alidei hamshoches hamakim. And the Rebbe Rashab says that when you really want to bless your friend, and you really want to help him, you get the help from a makif alien comes into you, and that gives you koyah to bless the other person. And therefore the Gemara says, afilu birchas hediyah, alti heikalah ve'inecha. But when a yid sincerely benches another yid, he gets a scholars of hamakif. It comes inside him, and that gives him ability that what his brocha affects the physical situation of that person. Not just it's a nice thing for him, but it actually goes in to the nature of the physical situation where he is. So the Rebbe says that all the brochas that good friends give, they go into the gashmir of the house, and they're hofkim et mokim, L'mokim kavua lebrocha. It becomes a fixed place of blood. In some about it's mamish pillar blood what the Rebbe Rashab writes over there, and he says that's the minhag of making a suda b'chanuv sabayis. The alidei, when all the friends come together, they are goyim that the whole place becomes a mokim brocha, which means that after that, anything you do in the house will be matzliach, and it will be a place where it will only give rise to good and positive results the whole time from there on. That's what he writes in some of what pillar post, and he said that's why the museum made a Chanukah Zabayas, and they put all these things like Torahs on the Mizbeach HaKitzah, and Rashi brings that somewhere over sure. Keteras is makif. Well known, keteras indicates the in for reya, and reya is the in of a makif. And so the keteras on the Mizbeach HaKitzon means that on the lower Mizbeach, which is shy to Bira, we bring down a makif elyon, and that just causes that everything that the Mizbeach deals with has a new power now to make a perfect Bira. And to make that's what he writes, a dear is Titanium. And that was the kavanah of the museum, why they put a ribui ashpah and beinayim kiteras on the Mizbeach HaKitzah. Yeah. That's what he writes over there. And it's also brought down the Likutei Torah on the Einzel of the Son of God. It's very powerful. And it's interesting. How did I find out the first time about that piece of Son of God where it talks about I once, I didn't make a Chanukah Zabayis, I was making some other simcha in my house. So I invited the Rav Landa that he should come. And he normally didn't go to personal simchas in the house. He would only go to a chasna, and if he was the Rav of the whole city. He had no time, so if he was a sandik, he would come to a bris or bazeh. And here he came into my house and sat down. I had a whole group of bakrim from the Shiva, and we're all Fabring. And the Rav himself came in and sat down and was part of he sat in Fabring with us, part of the Fabring. So he said, you have your son of God from home. So I said, yes. And I gave him the son of God, and he mixed up the piece, and he showed everybody that piece in the Son of God, about Chanukah Zabayis. And he said, you should realize that. He said that will always come in use in all your future years. That's what he said to B'shas the Fabring. Yeah. Very moving.
The Yigash is the Maimon Chanukah.
Yeah.
And
that's even from Chanukah. He said the word Chanukah is from Rosh Hashanah. Chanukah Zabayis means you mechanik the fires that it becomes a mocking brocha. That's what he writes of. A bit belatedly, I put in my little feet into the coming. I'm very happy to
make another Fabring. Make another Fabring.
I'm very happy to hear from your time. It should be by Ali Yin, Ali Yonik and Brocha, the Simcha, the two Beval, and the Rika, and take high years in the Innocent. alle verloren Israël, בתוך כל העניונים, Beis Hashem, Ryan Thompson. Oh, so it makes good sense why the Rebbe said we'll dance into the Gula, just like that. All it involves is just revealing the Aluvis of Living, but took the world the way it is. Nothing's wrong with the world. It's a perfect world. It's a Kodshloch's world. The world. What's wrong is the Hillel and Esther. That came in some dwelling building. That if you work to bring only the other, then you got it.
It's all there.
That's it. You got it. Remember, just like that, They got the good strength as they come to. So what he said, but that ain't.
Today was Yom HaAtzmaut.
Yeah.
You are not a Zionist. You did not make a barbecue today. But why did you fight in the Yom Kippur War? That's my question.
Why did I fight in the
Yes.
Yom Kippur War? That's a good question. And to a certain extent, I didn't really have any choice. To a certain extent, I didn't really have any choice. But what I did was, I decided that being here, I didn't have any choice. Once I'm already here, then I got to make the best of it.
Did the Rebbe ever have anything to say about Yom HaAtzmaut? Like in Yeshiva Ponevezh, Rav Yosef Kahaneman, also not a Zionist, but every Yom HaAtzmaut he would fly the Israeli flag over Ponevezh Yeshiva.
Yes, so listen, I'm not going to be doing that, but I say that Yom HaAtzmaut is a good thing in that hundreds and thousands of Yidden have a free day and they spend it in a good and positive way, that they think about better things. You follow? That is exactly what Hashem would want. And so that's ultimately what it is.
That's good.
You understand?
Yeah. Yes, I understand, yes.
And that's why, if you travel today, which I did, I traveled in the morning to Dublin in the yeshiva in Tamim Dublin, and the whole city was tranquil. It was very quiet and peaceful. It was very noticeable. So the taxi driver system it's very quiet. There is this one, so I said, Lama Zekacha, why is it like that? Because people are taking time not to hurry the day away, and they're taking time to reflect, what is the ultimate story? And remember, that brings peace and tranquility. And Hashem should be the eminence of peace and tranquility. Thank you. he going to bring the Aleph? How's he going to reveal it? It's really there. The Aleph Elohim, that's the Emerson Matthias of the whole world. You know. How's he going to reveal it? How's he going to change Goyla into Gula? You know? And that means, how's she going to make really the Emerson Gula for the Yidden? And the Eberster is going to be part of our Gula, not that he will be the Ikar beneficiary of the Gula, but he will be together with us in the Gula. So no matter how we're going to do that, so we have to realize that Baruch Hashem, the Eberster, but Rahmanas of the Jewish people, and he gives them a rebbe, he gives them a rebbe, a leader, Emerson Moshe Rabbeinu. And when you think about it, right from the moment of Matan Torah, how did Moshe Rabbeinu, how did he give over the Torah to Yidden? It's written that he heard from the Eibishter, and then Moshe Rabbeinu came down, and he met up with Aaron, and he took Aaron into his tent, and he taught Aaron what he learned from the Eibishter. It's a Gemara Masechta Yuma. The Gemara tells the Seder of how he gave over the Torah. And then Aaron finished hearing what Moshe Rabbeinu said. He would sit down to Moshe Rabbeinu's right. Then the sons of Aaron would come in. All the sons of Aaron, they would come in, and then he would give over to them what he'd heard from Moshe Rabbeinu. And Moshe Rabbeinu would check that out, if that was right. And then they would absorb what they heard, and they would sit down, and then it would come in the Zakanim. And the Zakanim, the Bnei Aaron would teach the Zakanim what they'd heard, and Moshe and Aaron, and then would be Boidik, you know, if everything they were saying was 100% correct. And then after that, they would call in representatives of the whole Klal Yisrael, and the whole Klal Yisrael, they would hear, their representatives would hear from the Zakanim, and then the Zakanim would, from the Yidden representatives would go out, they would teach, they would go around amongst the tribes and they would teach everything. So as a self-decided, why did the Eibishter need the whole Ariga Satvarim? He could have just, right from the beginning, called all the Yidden together, got them all together in one spot. He did it on a few occasions, and he could have just taught them the Torah directly. Why did he have to have a Moshe Rabbeinu? And then Moshe Rabbeinu gives it to Aaron, and Aaron gives it to Pliny, and Pliny gives it to Pliny, and Pliny gives it to Pliny. Kaku Asayda. So Yesh Lema at the Pshat in them is, when you think a bit deeper about it, what's the Pshat? Why do you need Moshe Rabbeinu and Aaron and the Zakanim? Just learn directly from the Eibishter. Now the touch is that there are two inyanim. There's first of all, what is being taught? What is the information that's being given over, or the toichan, let's put it that way, the inner content of the matter. And then there's what's called the kavanah. The kavanah means what is the ultimate purpose of Hashem? What does Hashem really want from all this? So you being, how do you call it, in brackets, an ordinary guy, you're just an ordinary person. You're a yid, so you have a neshama ta'ira, and alle gute Sachen. But you're not gifted necessarily ad kadikah that you should be able to know what is the ultimate kavanah of every detail. What is the purpose, and what are we all aiming for? What are we looking for? Moshe Rabbeinu is that gifted person that Hashem not only teaches Moshe Rabbeinu, but he also reveals to him what is the ultimate purpose, that should be given over, and that you have to get from Moshe Rabbeinu. That's his function, not just to teach you. You could have learned on your own. If you have a copy, you could have learned, and you should. You have to learn, but you have to learn from a Moshe Rabbeinu. He's got to teach you, because he will teach you what is the kavanah. It doesn't mean anything against anybody that you have to have Moshe Rabbeinu. But therefore people can be very great people in Torah, but they have to, as it were, be bottled to a certain extent to Moshe Rabbeinu, because he's the one that teaches you what nobody else will teach. You can learn and be great even in a lot of inyanim. But what is the ultimate purpose of the ultimate picture? You've got to be careful to leave that for Moshe Rabbeinu. There's certain things that it's not good to mix in your head, because you don't really, that's not your purpose. Your purpose is to learn, to give over to others. And like we said, make the Goyla into Geula, that's your in. But how and why and what is the purpose? What is the ultimate function of every prat and how to make it all fit? That you have to have Moshe Rabbeinu. Every day of our lives has to be devoted to bringing the Aleph and revealing the Aleph inside the Goyla. But that means, if we really mean business, that we also have to be, as much as we can, machazik, our kesher with the Rebbe. And every union to ask ourselves, what would the Rebbe say about this? And what is the approach of the Rebbe on this particular point? And once that's as much as we can work out, once that is clear, then you can go ahead, because you're going on a very certain path. You're not just going on the basis of what you learn, but you're going on the basis of what is the real and ultimate purpose of everything. And therefore Moshe Rabbeinu has to devote himself to countless inyanim. He can't just learn, he's also got to guide the whole Klal Yisrael. That's a tremendous piece of work. And if you saw the Rebbe, like Baruch Hashem, I was zeichen to see and to speak with the Rebbe, and you saw this unbelievable person, that he was just that. He was the Moshe Shekit Mekabel Sater Kol Hazman, but he knows what you're supposed to do with that. That's why he has to spend time dealing with certain issues. That's not your job. Don't mix into that. Just be Mekabel. And there are many, many thousands of exactly. Just be a good screw. And then it's better for you and for everybody in everything. I remember I heard from somebody that they saw a video with the Rebbe. They were mentioning the day that they made today, and they brought a video of the Rebbe where the Rebbe said that had they done certain things and had they taken a stance on certain issues, they could have saved hundreds of korbanos, of soldiers and other civilians being killed. And so that takes a tremendous courage to say that. The Rebbe said, and when the Rebbe spoke on many occasions, he spoke with a tremendous tweaker. So you might say, wait a minute, where does the Rebbe get this tweaker from? Where does he? Ella, it's not his tweaker, it's not the Rebbe's tweaker. The Rebbe being as it is, he's the Moshe Rabbeinu, then he's revealed not only just the information, he's revealed what is the best way for that information to make the Aleph come into the Goyla. And if you do it his way, then you hit the nail on the head. But if you don't do it his way, then you might get into a bit of a blunder. And sometimes that's not good. Unfortunately, that's been the situation over here in a lot of Inyanim. And the Rebbe teaches us openly and frankly, because he wants to be good for all Yidden, and he knows that the only way it could be good for all Yidden is to do it the purpose and the kavanah of Hashem, do it his way. And then you'll be doing it the way that will bring rachamim for everybody. Hashem should we should live our day in such a way that we are devoted to bringing the Aluv into the Goyla, but we're also devoted with the best we can and with all of our strength to understand what is the purpose revealed to us by the Rebbe Melech HaMashiach. And therefore the Rebbe is Melech HaMashiach. And the Tzemach points out in Dirham Mitzvah Circle that Moshiach has two inyanim about him. First of all, he's Moshe Rabbeinu. Seit ruhig, aber it's first of all, he's Rabbeinu. He teaches us. He teaches us incomparably amounts of Torah. Although on the other hand, he's also Malkeinu. He's a miller, and you have to teach certain things about a miller that you just have to be makabel. That's not your in. You don't really understand. That's not meant for you. And you just have to be bottled and makabel that. And then that's good for you and for your neighbors and for everybody in the whole Klal Yisrael. And that's the difference between Melech and Rabbeinu. Therefore, Melech HaMashiach is Einuch. He's going to be a great teacher. He's going to be Rabbeinu, but he's also going to be Malkeinu. He's a Melech, and in that regard, you just got to listen to him and to nobody else. And that is the benefit that everybody can say. That's the way to come to the second parasha, which is not just Acharei Mois, teaching us not to have a rotzei b'lo shoyim, like the Bnei Aaron, but it says kedoshim tiyu ki kodesh ani. Yeah, you have to be holy with the way the Eibus is holy, ki kodesh ani. Yeah, who can reveal to you how is the Eibus is kodesh? How am I supposed to know how the Eibus is kodesh? And if you listen to Moshe Rabbeinu, then that's what he does. He shows you on the one hand what is the pshat of the inner, but he reveals to you how you can become kodesh like the Eibishter. And like we saw, you join up with the Eibishter's Atman in the Dir of Tatayim. Well, that's the way the Rebbe reveals to you, not just the point, but he reveals to you how with that point you become ki kodesh ani. You join up into the Kedusha Kavyochel or the Kedusha's Atmas. And that's only the Rebbe. That's his function. The good thing, I think I told you guys, I don't know if I did or I don't. I can't remember when I said it. Well, I say a lot of things I can't remember when I said it. But once I'll just finish off. If you already heard it, then you heard it. I was once traveling in a cab from Jerusalem. In the old days, something was wrong with my car. I had a little car already. I don't know why I was traveling in a taxi, but anyway, I was in a taxi. And it just so happened that in the taxi, which a lot of people used to travel in these taxis, because it was swift and better than traveling with your own car, was a member of the Knesset, quite a leading member at that time of the Knesset. So he made some remark to the driver about something, and it must have attracted my attention. So I said, with all due respect to his honor, I spoke with him very nicely. I told him that I don't think that's right, or that's exactly the point, So he sort of turns around, he sort of gives me a look, and he says, Amir Tim Shaykh, he says to, who are you connected with? He didn't ask me my name, he asked me who am I connected with. So I said, I try to be connected with the Rebbe Melubavitch. He was a big member of the Knesset. He said, he went like this, he said, He said, I have to admit to you, he said that had we listened to the Lubavitcher Rebbe, it would have been much different than we are now. The situation would have been much different. So he said, that would be had we listened. So I said to him, why didn't you listen? Why? So he said, oh, yeah, Shari. It wasn't possible. But he said, had we listened to the Lubavitcher, then everything would have been all right, but it just wasn't possible. So I said to him, I said to him, you say that what the Rebbe says is impossible. What I'm saying is that the only possible thing is what the Rebbe says. That's what I says to him. We were sitting in the taxi. So all of a sudden he sort of looked up and he said, That was it, that was the close of the conversation. He preferred not to talk with me anymore. But that is the case. You follow? They know the truth. They basin. He knew that it's only through the way of the Rebbe that will ever reach the ornament. I know. Their problem is they say it's not practical. You can't do that. And so what is the answer? That itself is the Messina Square. The fact that you know that that is the way Hashem will help you, that that's what it'll be. It'll be prepared like that. Well, also, Bilti Safek. The fact that you believe that it's not possible, that's the goal. That's at the end of the goal. That's the hell of the goal. That's what I tried to hint to him. And he wasn't a fool. He sort of pretty much got the point. We have to know that what the Rebbe says is not just a very profound interpretation of the situation. No, that is the way, according to the Kavanah of Nisava HaKadosh Baruch Hu Liyis. You want to be part of that? Then join up with that and some do it that way. And then it'll be good for everybody concerned. If for some reason not, then you have to put up with the mess. And that's unfortunately, that's the situation. Hashem should help us that we're on the way out of the mess. That's what we have to say. That's the message. That we're Hashem, no more mess. We're on the way out of the mess and swiftly and take of me out. We're going to be with Aluf Yisrael and with his representative, Moshe Rabbeinu, and we're going to be Mekabel Torah from both of them. And it should all be the same way we do it well. And also in the name von Hamshofetz Aluf Yisrael.
I hope you're out there somewhere.
I just want to leave you all with one final word. And that is, tomorrow when you got your talis on and you put on your tefillin and you got that quiet moment before you begin Hoidu, you have to say what the Alter Rebbe said. You have to say, Eibishter, show me that one little point of Alufa Shalom. And I don't want your Gan Eden, I don't want, I feel like the Asogas from Elam Habo. Man, it is Dichalai, and said, you, yourself. And that's a little piece of Alufa Shalom. Yeah. We have to ask that Hashem should reveal it to us and give it to us. And the whole day will be completely different. It will be a Gula Dika day. And Be'ez Hashem will all quickly and swiftly be together with El Moshe Rabbeinu and El Melech HaMashiach. And we'll be with him together in the Beis HaMikdash HaShlishi. And the Rikim will take Nachas, take Simcha V'Tur. And all the diras and all the good places, they'll all be dir loyes bara v'taktoinim b'gora, taklis hakilim. Be'ez Hashem. So should be a good Shabbos. And Shabbos he marlizai ge'ula kurei v'lovei, and mamela refuah kurei v'lovei. And therefore I want to mention that this offering should be a great help in the Gula of two very dear people to us. Firstly, Rav Zimrani Zedek ben Tzipora Feiga, and my doctor, my very dear Talmud, Zev Zelenko, Dr. Zelenko, Zev ben Leah. He's unfortunately, he had a very, they found the Anamakla and they took out his lung and everything. He's a very
He's a baby.
Situation. Yeah. You know him?
Yes.
You know Zev Zelenko?
I knew him when he was a Bacher, yeah.
He's in a very serious situation. I sent him an email yesterday. Yeah, I hope he got it. I talked with a friend of his on the phone, because you can't talk to him, he's not able to talk on the phone.
He's in Muncie, no?
Huh?
He lived in Muncie?
Not in Russia, no.
Muncie.
Yeah.
In Muncie?
Muncie.
Yeah, not Muncie, in Monroe, but now he lives now he moved to Monroe.
Uh-huh.
He used to live in Monroe, but now he moved to Muncie. Yeah. Very, very, very,
A shlicha from the Rebbe in Colombia, Shulamis Bas Miriam, Shulamis Bas Miriam.
Alle Yidden, and alle Yidden in the refuah and the goddess, that should be
Also Menachem Mendel ben Masha Malka.
Amen. Refuah Shleiman, Moshe Shleiman. Good
Meir Chai ben Chiyun ben Mazel Tov. Meir Chai ben Mazel Tov.
Amen. Refuah Shleiman. Good. Okay, everybody good.
Okay.
We should do only good news.
Bracha,